Urgent. Mars hits Jupiter. What Aries and Cancer are about to overcommit to. You are about to do something too big. Not too big in the wrong direction sense. Too big in the right direction but wrong scale sense. The direction is correct. The impulse is genuine. The thing you are about to move toward is probably the thing you should be moving toward. But the size of the move, the scale of the commitment, the scope of what your body is about to throw itself into is inflated beyond what the current structure can absorb. On May 4th, Mars in Aries forms an exact square to Jupiter in Cancer. Mars is the force that acts. Jupiter is the force that expands. And when the force that acts collides at a 90-degree tension angle with the force that expands, the action gets Jupiter-sized without a Jupiter-sized container to hold it. This is the transit of the overshoot. Not the miss, the overshoot. The arrow aimed at the right target that flies past it because the arm pulled back too far. The leap toward the right ledge that generates too much force and carries the body past the landing. The commitment to the right relationship, or the right project, or the right direction that promises more than the current architecture can deliver. Not from dishonesty, but from the specific inflation that happens when Mars's physical force meets Jupiter's boundless confidence that more is always better. Most people will experience this square as a surge of energy and confidence that feels like clarity. It is not clarity. It is inflation wearing the costume of clarity. And the difference matters, because what you commit to at inflated scale becomes what you must deliver at actual scale. And the gap between the two is where the damage lives. By the time this video is over, you will understand what Mars square Jupiter specifically produces in the body and in your decisions. Why the combination of Aries aggression and Cancer emotional depth makes this particular square uniquely prone to overcommitment in the personal territory, and what each sign needs to do before acting on the surge. Stay here, because the surge is real. The direction is real. The scale is the only thing that is wrong, and if you can correct the scale before you move, the move itself becomes one of the most productive actions of the entire month. Let me start with the two forces involved. Mars is in Aries, its home sign, the territory where Mars operates at maximum intensity. Mars in Aries does not deliberate, it acts. The impulse forms and the body follows in the same breath. This is not reckless. It is Mars at full power, the purest expression of the force that initiates, that breaks inertia, that turns interior decisions into physical reality. Mars in Aries is the most action-oriented energy available in the entire zodiac. It is also the energy least interested in calibrating the scale of the action to the capacity of the container. Jupiter is in Cancer, the sign of emotional depth, of need, of the specific quality of feeling that says this matters more than you have been allowing yourself to feel. Jupiter in Cancer has been expanding the emotional territory for months, deepening the awareness of what you genuinely need, widening what you allow yourself to want, amplifying the significance of the personal and domestic territory. Jupiter in Cancer makes everything feel larger, more important, more connected to the deepest layer of what you are. When Mars in Aries squares Jupiter in Cancer, two things happen simultaneously. First, the action impulse, Mars, gets emotionally supercharged, Jupiter in Cancer. The move you are about to make is not just a decision. It feels like the most important decision of your life. It feels connected to your deepest needs, your oldest wounds, your most fundamental sense of what you deserve. The emotional significance is enormous, and because it feels so significant, the action scales up to match the feeling. This is the inflation. The feeling is genuine, but the action proportions itself to the feeling rather than to the structural reality of what can actually be delivered. Second, the confidence inflates. Mars in its home sign already carries maximum confidence in the rightness of the action. Jupiter adds expansion to that confidence. The specific quality of absolute certainty that the move is correct, the timing is right, and the scale is justified. Under Mars square Jupiter, you do not feel like you are overshooting. You feel like you are finally acting at the scale the situation deserves. That feeling is the most dangerous quality of this transit. Because the feeling of rightness is indistinguishable from the inflation of rightness, and the only way to distinguish them is to pause long enough to check the container. Here is how this feels in the body. Mars square Jupiter announces itself through a specific physical quality, the heat of readiness combined with the expansion of capacity. Your body feels capable of more than it normally feels capable of. The muscles feel stronger. The energy feels bottomless. The specific physical caution that normally prevents you from overextending, the body's built-in scale limiter, temporarily lifts. You feel like you can handle whatever you commit to. That physical feeling is the inflation operating at the muscular level. The body is telling you the truth about how it feels right now. It is not telling you the truth about how it will feel next week when the inflation has passed and the commitment remains at the size you made it. The second body sign is the specific quality of impatience, not ordinary impatience. The impatience of someone who has been building towards something and is now convinced that the moment to act has arrived, and any delay is a betrayal of the momentum. This impatience feels like wisdom. It feels like the body's intelligence saying now. But the body's intelligence under Mars square Jupiter is operating with inflated parameters. The now it is announcing is real. The scale it is announcing is not. Here is where this square lands for each sign. If you are Aries or Aries rising, Mars is in your first house. The action comes from identity itself. Jupiter squares from your fourth house. The inflation comes from the emotional foundation. The danger? Committing the full force of who you are to a move scaled to your deepest emotional need rather than your current structural capacity. If you are Cancer or Cancer rising, Jupiter is in your first house. Everything feels expanded to maximum significance. Mars squares from your 10th house. The action impulse is professional. The danger? Making a career move scaled to your emotional importance rather than your professional readiness. If you are Libra or Libra rising, Mars activates your 7th house. The action is relational. Jupiter squares from your 10th house. The inflation is career scale. The danger? Promising a partner something that the professional structure cannot yet support. If you are Capricorn or Capricorn rising, Mars is in your 4th house. The action comes from the roots. Jupiter squares from your 7th house. The inflation is relational. The danger? Committing to an emotional foundation change at a scale the partnership cannot absorb. If you are Taurus or Taurus rising, Mars activates your 12th house. The action impulse is unconscious. Jupiter squares from your 3rd house. The danger? Acting on something emerging from the hidden interior at a scale the daily communication structure cannot hold. If you are Gemini or Gemini rising, Mars is in your 11th house. The action is collective. Jupiter squares from your 2nd house. The danger? Committing resources to a group vision at a scale the personal finances cannot support. If you are Leo or Leo rising, Mars activates your 9th house. The action is philosophical, educational. Jupiter squares from your 12th house. The danger? Declaring a new belief or teaching at a scale the invisible interior has not finished preparing. If you are Virgo or Virgo rising, Mars is in your 8th house. The action touches the deepest shared territory. Jupiter squares from your 11th house. The danger? Restructuring a power dynamic at a scale the community context cannot absorb. If you are Scorpio or Scorpio rising, Mars activates your 6th house. The action is daily, practical, health-related. Jupiter squares from your 9th house. The danger? Overhauling the daily structure at a philosophical scale rather than a practical one. If you are Sagittarius or Sagittarius rising, Mars is in your 5th house. The action is creative, romantic. Jupiter squares from your 8th house. The danger? Making a creative or romantic commitment that reaches into the deepest shared territory at a scale neither person has negotiated. If you are Aquarius or Aquarius rising, Mars activates your 3rd house. The action is communicative. Jupiter squares from your 6th house. The danger? Committing to a daily communication change at a scale the routine cannot sustain. If you are Pisces or Pisces rising, Mars is in your 2nd house. The action is financial, value-based. Jupiter squares from your 5th house. The danger? Investing resources in a creative vision at a scale the budget has not verified. Here is what this transit is specifically asking of you. Not restraint, not the suppression of the action impulse. A single calibration. Before you move, and you should move, Mars square Jupiter is fuel when it is calibrated. Ask one question. Is the scale of this action proportional to what my current structure can actually deliver? Not what it could deliver if everything goes perfectly. Not what it could deliver if the emotional significance of the moment translates directly into structural capacity. What it can deliver now, in the current architecture, with the current resources, at the current level of readiness. If the scale matches, move. Mars square Jupiter at calibrated scale is one of the most productive action transits of the entire year. The direction is correct. The emotional significance is genuine. The energy is abundant. All of these are real. The only thing that needs adjustment is the zoom level. Pull back from the Jupiter-inflated wide angle to the Mars-specific actual angle, and then act at that angle. The action will still be significant. It will still be emotionally genuine. It will still carry the force of Mars in its home sign and the depth of Jupiter in Cancer, but it will land on the ledge rather than flying past it. The practice. Before every significant action between May 3rd and May 6th, hold both hands in front of you, palms facing each other, at the distance that represents the scale of what you are about to do. Look at the gap between your hands. Then move them 30% closer together. That is the actual scale. The gap your inflated confidence was showing you? 30% too wide. The corrected gap? What the structure can hold. Act at the corrected scale. The direction does not change. The commitment does not weaken. The scale becomes honest. And honest scale is what separates a productive leap from a costly overshoot. Write in the comments the action you are about to take and whether the scale feels inflated. The person who comes after you needs to see that the direction can be right, while the scale needs correction. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because tomorrow Mercury squares Pluto, and the words that emerge from this week's volatile energy need the specific guidance I will provide for navigating the most intense communication transit of the month. The universe has spoken. What comes next is in your hands.